Thanks for joining us this week for the Mish and Zach podcast. This week, Zach has allergic reaction to some form of pollen, which has sent him crazy. We're also talking about his experience on Letterboxd because he did his top 4 over there. And we also talk about Tim Burton films and which one that Zach watched on a plane recently. It's kind of a wacky episode, but you're going to have fun.
Mish and Zach.
Hello, welcome to Mish and Zach Podcast. My name's Zach. I recorded an Auntie Donna podcast. It's not going to be out for ages. It's a secret, but we did it outside. And I recorded that today, and there was something in the air, a pollen, something. I don't know what
Not a vibe.
it is.
It wasn't like a vibe in
There
the
was
air.
a vibe. I really enjoyed it. I think it's going to be a good few episodes.
Yeah.
But something was in the air, a vibe, yes, and also a pollen of some kind. And I have had one of my worst allergic reactions in years.
Zach has come into the studio looking like he has been crying for a long time. He assures us.
If I was a chick,
Yeah,
maybe
but what we have to remember is that Zach isn't a big girly loser.
No, I'm not a chick. I'm
Yeah.
a bloke, and blokes don't cry.
No, but they do need an antihistamine
We
from time
punch
to
walls.
time.
Blokes need a... Hey, nothing wrong with needing an antihistamine from time to time.
Tom, I have to ask you to take us off that screen as well. Because currently Zach and I now film things for YouTube. Tom accidentally left the visual up on the big screen and it really threw me because I couldn't stop looking at myself.
Also, whenever you looked at me, you just saw a man very comfortably staring at himself. It's like, make some eye contact with me. Yeah, no, so I feel not well. Really not well.
Tom, are you allergic to anything?
Iron infusions.
You're allergic to them. That sucks
Yeah.
because you need them.
Yeah. And I break out in hives, but they just do it really slowly and it's fine. So I just have to sit there for like 6 hours.
Oh, okay.
Like pegging.
Yeah. You're being edged.
Being edged
You're being edged
by the iron infusion.
I'm just this like ball of tears and puffy eyelids, just throwing zingers.
So do you know?
I don't think I look that bad anymore. Just
No,
like
you
I've
look
been crying.
quite normal, to be honest. Just
Yeah.
that you're crying and got a sniffly nose.
Yeah.
But I thought I was allergic to alcohol for ages, right? Because whenever I would drink, which is so rarely, but I would occasionally have a drink, I would break out in like hot sweats, get really red in the face, and I thought, oh, I'm allergic to wheat or something like that. Turns out years later, fatty liver.
Oh,
So
see,
my liver can't process alcohol.
I also get very, very red in the face when I drink alcohol or if I spray perfume on myself.
Yeah. And do you
Just
actually-
a little Asian lady?
Yeah, that's exactly right. No, but I went and got all the tests done because when I told my doctor, I'm like, I think I might be allergic to alcohol. Naturally, like any doctor, they're like, probably because you're fat. And then they looked into it like, no, your liver's fine. You have an allergic reaction to alcohol.
Yeah,
turns out.
wow. There you go.
There you go. But I'm allergic to something called Bactrim. Bactrim also, that gives me hives, but it means that if I ever go to hospital, I get a special band that says I'm
nice.
allergic to something.
I'm allergic to grass. I'm allergic to dust. I'm allergic to pollen. I'm allergic to most animals.
And you're allergic to bullshit.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
having a good time.
No, I'm not allergic to having a good time. I'm allergic to narcs, which actually means the only cure for me is a good time.
I don't know what it is about you when you're having an allergic reaction, but you are quite funny. I'm quite enjoying this.
I've got nothing else.
Yes.
It's like I can turn on one engine right now, and it's I got fuel enough for one of the switches in my brain,
Yeah.
and all I got is funny. I can turn that off and turn on because pontificate, I die.
Yeah.
If you go to me, hey Zach, what do you think about this complicated issue? And from time to time we'll pontificate. It's part of why we did this podcast, Mish. It's part of why we left MasterChef, so you could go on the occasional rant about veganism, and I could pontificate about the morality of life. But if I were to do that now, I believe with my whole heart that my allergies are such that if I were to start pontificating, because that's the only thing that's on, my brain and my body would go, in order to fuel it, it takes more power, more energy than comedy for me now. In order to fuel it, it would turn off basic life functions and I would die.
Oh, that's very funny.
So you're not going to get any thoughts from me, but I think I've given you all enough for a few weeks.
Well, we're going to run out at some point. You know what I mean?
Of pontificates?
Yeah.
No, you never run out of funny, do you? And I'm just starting on my pontificating journey. I just did 10 years of funny. I'm ready to give you my thoughts.
Oh, yay. That's fun for us.
Well, I think...
Oh, wow, that sounds great.
Message received. Message received. Zachy's not allowed to talk about his stuff, but Mish can wank on me however much she wants.
No. I love hearing you have a bit of a wank. I do. Sometimes, look, Zach, what I'm saying is that I don't have a problem with the sound of you wanking.
Mish, that was one time before our screen.
You asked me.
Mish,
you said, hey, Mish, listen to this.
No.
And then you went behind a door and started tugging on your dick.
Mish, we had a screening. At the Ritz the next day.
Yeah.
We were sharing a room. I thought you were asleep.
No, you didn't. You went, hey, Mish, psst, are you awake? And I went, yes, Zach, what's up? You're like, listen to this. And then I was like, no. Okay, no, to be fair, you didn't. You said, would you like to hear me wank? And I said, so you asked for my consent, and then I said yes.
And that's going to be like in the first 3 sentences of my Instagram apology. I thought, because I asked Mish if she wanted to hear it, and she said yes, that was enough. I see now that I was wrong. I see now that there was a power differential between me and Mish. And when I asked if she'd like to listen to me wank before our screening... for our screening of Mario Brothers at the Ritz. To be clear, we didn't share a room in Mario Brothers, so the whole story falls apart.
That would be, like, do you know what sounds like hell to me now? Like a lot of stuff. But with all of the music festival season that's happening right now around the world, camping at a music festival right now, it sounds awful to me. Did you ever do it? Did you ever camp at one?
Oh, yeah.
I did.
You would have, yeah.
Yes, I did. But then also, for a number of years, Auntie Donna would perform at Splendor.
I went with you one year.
Oh,
yeah. Max's partner couldn't go, so I took their ticket, and I had the best time of
You
my
and Max
life.
had an affair.
Yes. Max and I were lovers, and he took me.
He took you.
He took
you in
me.
his bed?
Yeah, he took me as a lover, and we went to Splendor in the Grass together.
He took me that night.
He took me that night.
He took all of me. And it was beautiful.
It was absolutely beautiful. Fucking hell. I think staying at a music festival right now, like camping, would be hell.
Well, this is what I was trying to say. Is like we were staying at a hotel. We had there were shuttle buses going to and from the hotel to the festival the entire time. The area we were in, because we weren't a band, we were in the comedy tent. Bands usually about an hour before their set get or depending how big the band are, maybe more, maybe less, but about an hour before the set, they have a change room. They have a little caravan with food and stuff. But they were like, oh, we can't do that with every single artist in the comedy room. So unfortunately, instead, we're just going to have this spread of cheeses and biscuits and beers and wines for the entire day, and just a social area, which actually is so much better because then it's not 1 hour, it's just the whole time. So we had a hotel, we had beers and wines for free, we had little cheese and biscuits if that was enough food, and then we could go out and see all the shows we wanted. And I would be out there, very minimal amount of money, right? You did it for all of that, right?
Of course.
But I'd be out there going, we're getting paid a little bit to have this experience. And I'm looking around seeing these suckers pay $500. And by day 3, they all look like shit.
It's honestly like shit. So that was the last time I did a music festival, was when I went to Splendor in the Grass with you guys. And I had such a good time.
Normal.
I had such a good time because I had the cheese and bickies situation. Right. However, I've just remembered, the whole time I was there, so it was 4 days or something, 3, whatever. I had just started seeing someone back home in Melbourne, and they were like slowly acting less interested in me. And I spent the entire time at Splendid and Grass just very sad.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, because I was just like, it's because I'm not there. And it's like now in retrospect, it's like, no, like you were gone for 3 days. If that's what it takes, then like.
I think it was probably because you weren't there.
Well, I got free cheese and bickies.
Yeah. I gotta ask you which Splendor was it?
The Kendrick Lamar one.
Oh, Kendrick.
It was your last one, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was your last one.
Kendrick was very good, very talented.
And
young
Lord.
gentleman. Lord was good, but I had notes. I'm trying to get them to Lord's people.
About that particular
Set.
gig. Yeah, fair enough. But no, I had a lot of fun. But you're so right. It's like I think that the idea of it, the planning of it would be so much more fun than the doing of it. Because did you see like a few years ago how it got flooded and it was muddy and gross and you can't shower and everything would stink? And also when you are tired and you're like, it's time for me to go to sleep now, the noise is just crazy. How do you sleep? Probably knock yourself out, eh?
Yeah. And
With them naughty druggies.
Yeah. Now, Tom's just done the international signal for end of the podcast with a T. He's made a T with his hands, but I know now that means we're going to go to an ad break.
Okay, let's just go to an ad. What are we going to do when we come back from the ad?
The switch, that's not on in my brain.
That's going to be a big surprise.
Yeah.
Welcome back from that beautiful ad break. If you want, we can go straight into what's something cool you watched this week because I've got some fun things to chat about.
And just if you know, the elections are probably over now when this comes out, aren't
Yeah.
Well, yeah, potentially.
they? Yeah. So
3 weeks from now.
So, if there's no Liberal ads now, we'll be sure to just
Army.
insert
The
something
army.
for you.
I want all the ads for the army. That's our next preference.
Yeah.
Do you want to go straight into what's something cool
Yeah,
you
why
watched?
not?
That's such a great idea, Mish. Sing it.
No. What's something cool
God.
that you watched this week? What's something cool you watched this week with friends or by yourself?
Excuse me, are you? Am I? Whoever ran the cafe in Neighbours, maybe it was Harold or someone related to Harold. And are you Delta Goodrum cleaning the toilets? Because I just heard an angel singing.
Yes, you are. That was a phenomenal reference, by the way. Do you know, I did a thing last year, like a filmy sketch kind of thingy. And it was just me and him, Harold from Neighbours.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and for a bunch of different little like bits and pieces I can say it was for the 100. They've been released now, so people have seen them. I did them for the 100. And there was a point there where I was doing these little like weird little sketches with Harold from Neighbours, and I was just sitting with him across the kitchen table at one point, and I was just like, okay, this is wild. This is one of those moments that you have where you're just like, how the fuck did my life set me up to be sitting across the table pretending to enjoy a spaghetti bolognese with Harold from Neighbours?
Like me with Weird Al.
Yeah, you just have these Weird Al's. That's a bit different to Harold from
Just
Neighbours.
having catering. You know?
Yeah, you just like, and he was just talking to me about like actually his career. He did enjoy talking about his career.
That's
But
me
it-
now. I love it.
He was very, very nice. But yeah, it was just like there was one point we were sitting on the couch pretending to watch TV, and I was just like, I'm watching TV with Harold from Neighbours.
It is a funny thing that happens where I think, but like the things that hit you, you know, we've talked about this, I could meet the most famous person in the world now and I'd be like, oh yeah. But there's still stuff that hits me.
Oh,
you
yeah,
know?
100%. Yeah.
We haven't talked about this, but like doing the Letterboxd top 4.
Oh my God, we haven't talked about that.
Huge moment for Zachy.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
That blew my mind. I was so happy for
It
you.
was just because Mark knew a guy. Like, it was very normal, and it was funny because Mark was like, hey, you guys want to do the Letterboxd top 4? I was like, that was my response.
Yeah.
Watching you from the outside was quite amusing.
Really? What was he doing? What was
Just
he
you could tell that Broden didn't give a fuck, and Mark and Zach had quite a bit of weight on this.
Yes, yeah. Broden gave a little bit
No,
of
of course.
you
Yeah,
don't
no,
wanna,
no. He's not. Yeah, he loves it as well.
He doesn't want to, like, you want to get out. You don't want to, in something like that, you either want to do well in it, but a lot of people want to do well in it, right? But everyone doesn't want to catch straight. You don't want people being like, you're a fucking loser.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, of course.
Of course.
And that's a scary thing. But I've refined my top 4. I remember I pitched a top 4 on this podcast once to you and Alexi, and you were like, I was like, okay.
I would share. I've had the same top 4 on Letterboxd now for like the whole time I've had Letterboxd, which is what, like a bit shy of a year. And I wouldn't change. But if Letterboxd came to me for whatever reason, we're like, we want to do Letterboxd top 4 with you, I would lose days of sleep.
I would encourage you to just do the one you've got.
It's never going to happen. I can't see that being something that could happen for me.
Yes, it would. Yeah, very much could happen.
We'll campaign for it, Mish.
Oh my God, could they sponsor us?
I think we've spoken about Letterboxd sponsoring us.
Oh my God,
before.
could you imagine if Letterboxd sponsored us? I would piss. I would piss myself.
There are
I would piss and shit everywhere.
25,000 podcasts more suited to Letterboxd.
But now we've got YouTube.
No, they love a little independent moment. They love a little.
Leguizamo-rama's is very Letterboxd coded. Pick 'em one character actor you like. That's very.
Yeah, they love
that's
that. Just come and ask us what's your top 4 John Leguizamo films.
Yeah, but I'm saying they're not gonna sponsor us.
If anything, Letterboxd, it's kind of shit that you haven't thought to do that earlier. I'm going to do that kind of like, I'm going to bully them into it.
No, Mish.
Letterboxd is a New Zealand company.
Are they?
Yeah, we don't.
Oh, I love New Zealand.
Yeah, we don't want to bully this like little company done good.
Yeah.
No, that's true. I was joking.
Yeah, but
'Cause,
sometimes our listeners might listen and go, "Yeah, I'm going to bully Letterboxd." If any one of you bully Letterboxd,
If anyone of you embarrasses Zach,
In front of Letterboxd. No, I was so thrilled for you guys when you got your Letterboxd top 4. That was an genuinely thrilling experience for me.
I was so nervous, and then I spoke first, and I was like, "Fuck, I shouldn't have spoken first because I was like nervous, right?" And I didn't overthink it, and I thought because I was like, "That's usually what people do. They're usually cornered." So I was like, "So I don't want to overthink it." But then Mark talked second, and he clearly thought it through, and then Broden spoke last, so he'd had time to hear us do it. I was like, "Fuck, I shouldn't have gone first. Fuck." But then they edited it well.
You did. You looked great.
Yeah. Oh, thanks.
You look like a proper movie boy.
I gained like 1,000+ followers on Letterboxd out of it. The worst part.
That's the dream.
The worst part was. They released it in the middle of the comedy festival. So we filmed it a bit earlier and then they released it in the middle of the comedy festival. Yeah. 2 things happened. David Lynch died. So I think that probably even pushed it back further because it's like I don't address his death in my list, which is weird. And then secondly, they released it in the middle, and it's like, as you know, I don't really watch stuff. So literally, like, I gained 1,000 followers. They would have all come along, and I think I'll find what I'd watched. It was very funny. It was like a real rat shit list, like last 4 watch. The 2 things on Letterboxd, it's the favorites, and then it's the last 4 watch. And I'm pretty sure when they released it, my last 4 watched was Petscop, which is a web series that shouldn't be on there. Flow, which is a good movie. People Under the Stairs and Black. Oh, that's all right. Anyway.
You messaged me and you were like, I think I messaged you saying, "Oh my God, the top 4, that's so exciting." And you were like, "Yeah, it's great, except now people are following me on Letterboxd, so I have to watch some good shit so I look like I'm fucking worthy of this stuff."
It was particularly
because it was comedy festival, and you famously during comedy festival, famously, everyone says so. You watch bullshit during comedy festival.
Well, wrestling is to quote Werner Herzog,
yeah,
a Letterboxd favorite. He describes it as the Greek tragedy of our times.
Beautiful.
And he says the reason. Have you heard this about Werner Herzog? He watches WrestleMania, and his response is always, people are like, "Why do you watch WrestleMania?" He's like, "The poet must not avert his eyes." The poet, partly because the poet must not avert his eyes, and partly because there is a simple rudimentary drama.
See, the thing with wrestling is, I actually think I would really get into it.
It takes a minute, and then it's long and it's boring.
Yeah, but I think that I would get really into it, but I actually don't have enough time to get into another thing. I'm into too much at the moment. Yeah,
that was
obsessively. So like, I need to calm down. I
literally was just like, I watched Monday Night Raw for a run to almost catch up, to be like, all right, who's who, what's the dynamic, what's the relationships. But I was like, I'm not going to watch 3 hours of wrestling a week. I was very like conscious of like once I'm caught up, I'm then gonna slip into the occasional Raw and like the main events, the big events. And that's sort of what I do now. Now I know who people are. I know who Rey Mysterio is. I know who Pantera. Penta.
No, but you have a new set of like knowledge. You have a whole new like pocket of knowledge.
I can't tell you how nice it is. You know, I'll just meet someone that grew up in the outer suburbs in the early 2000s and I've got something to talk about with them finally. I've never had anything. I can't talk about football. I can't talk about nu metal. Finally, we have wrestling.
Yeah, perfect. So let's do what's something cool you watched this week.
Yeah.
I've already sung and I did a great job. So
You did do that.
Would you like me to go first?
I'll go first.
All right, off you pop.
Now, I'll be honest here. We recorded a few in a cluster.
Okay.
Because I said Edward Scissorhands like 3 weeks ago. But I didn't. Did I do it as one listed?
No, I don't think you did a proper chat
because I
about
did
it.
Strange Days. I just passingly mentioned Edward Scissorhands in relation to Sinners on episode 3 weeks ago. But it is the last thing I watched.
Yep, okay.
And I realized that I said it and I was like, oh no, I was going to bring it. And I just feel like I need to be honest. We recorded these 2 episodes close
no, that's
together.
fair.
But I rewatched Edward Scissorhands. When was the last time you watched Edward Scissorhands?
10 years ago?
Did you see my review of it on Letterboxd?
I didn't read it, no.
Oh. No, it's a long one. I wanked on. My question to you is, do you think it would hold up?
It was never my favourite movie. I liked it, like don't get me wrong, and I remember watching it when I was like younger, and then I remember I must have watched it again maybe in my late 20s, mid-20s maybe, but that's kind of it. And I remember being like, oh, this is good. Like,
It was probably the Tim Burton film.
Who plays the Avon lady?
Diane.
Yeah, Diane, not Kruger.
Keaton.
No.
No. Diane Wiest.
Yes, I think she is incredible in it.
So, I think now this holds a very special place in my heart. This film, I watched it right at the right age. Right, I watched the last half hour of it on TV. This was before the internet, so I was like, I couldn't find it, and I remember going to my local video shop and being like, it's a drama because it's funny at the start, but it's only sad at the end. I was like, it's like a drama about a man with scissors for hands, and the guy behind the counter be like, I don't know, and then it was under comedy. In my local video store. It took me years, like ages before I finally found I watched the whole thing. I love this movie. But on the rewatch, in my opinion, holds up.
Oh, great.
Really, really, really good. There's a few things I loved about it. One, big thing I thought was everyone always talks about Tim Burton's gothic, you know, Tim Burton, when you hear Tim Burton, you think gothic, you think pale face, you think, you know, Nosferatu's inspiration, German expressionist inspiration. You think James Whale. No one ever thinks about like mid-century googie Americana, and so many of his movies have that aesthetic. Like the whole point of Edward Scissorhands is he lives up in this gothic castle, but everyone down at the bottom of the hill is like 1950s googie. And that is the majority of the aesthetic of the film. And
That's
it's
true,
so,
and I do love that aesthetic.
He does it really well. And he does it he does it in Big Eyes. He does it a bit, right? So that jumped out to me. Diane Wiest is incredible.
Yeah.
A beautiful performance. The script is also really beautifully written. It's not written by Tim Burton. I think that's a great thing. So many movies now are like shit in the script, and you see it's like these auteurs write their little scripts, and it's like Tim Burton drew a picture of a cunt with scissors fans, and then he got a good writer in to like make this beautiful story around it. Script is really clever. It's very much about, I think watching it, I was expecting it to be about like very emo, like identifying with what it is to be like a weird kid.
Yep.
I'm watching it. It feels thematically much more profound and much deeper. It's much more about like what it is to be, you know, it's much more about bigger sort of societal prejudices. And there's it's this beautiful story about like Diane Wiest is like so kind and she tries to do an individual act of kindness, but the story is kind of like that one act of kindness from one person to another can't beat a whole society fetishizing and then throwing away.
Now I really want to watch it again. You have sold it.
Interesting.
You're very, very good.
And then I'll say one final thought, which is the dad in it is played by Alan Arkin.
Yep.
And it is, without question, the funniest portrayal of a middle-aged man that I have ever seen in my life. And,
really?
And it's something that didn't jump out. I didn't even remember.
Man, you've made me want to watch this movie again.
It is so funny. There's just a bit, like when you first meet him, it's like Edward's there. And I remember the visual gag of, you know, when you're a kid, that's what you find funny. But now that I'm older, he's there at the other end of the table. It's like, oh, it must have been hard living up there on that hill there. And then like at one point, he's like, because he starts snipping people's hair, the dad's just like, well, you're going to need to get a bank loan. Shit like this is middle-aged man telling his cunt with scissors.
I'm about to do Sydney Comedy Festival. So by the time this has come out, it's well and truly gone. I had a wonderful time. Thank you.
Thank you.
But I'm literally about to go there, like tomorrow. And every night after my show, I go back to my Airbnb, which I really love. I stay at the same Airbnb every time. It's so cozy. It feels very homely to me. And I sit down and I watch a movie and I order Thai food or something like that. And I watch a movie. It's like my Sydney Comedy Festival like ritual now.
Yeah.
And I reckon that'll be one of the, because I'm there for 5 nights, it might be one of my 5.
Do you know where I watched it, funnily enough, was on the Virgin flight. I watched the first hour on the Virgin flight back from Sydney.
Yeah, see? There you go.
Yeah, it's a very flight movie vibes.
Cool thing I watched this week?
Yeah, if you want. Just joking. I'd love to hear.
Okay. I watched A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors. I've never seen it. So I had only ever seen the first 2 Nightmare on Elm Streets and New Nightmare.
Yes.
So I want to slowly make my way through the Nightmare on Elm Street films, right? And the third one is great. I really liked it. And a lot of people had a lot of criticisms for the third Nightmare on Elm Street, big elm heads. I don't know, what would you call them? Yeah.
I mean, from my experience, it's considered to be one of the best ones.
Well, I guess a lot of people just like to criticize stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
But I read up on a lot of criticism of the film. But I thought it was so much fun. I think that Freddy in this... So I'm aware that Freddy Krueger, it starts to become a bit of a joke and he becomes a little bit naff. However, in this one, it is so fun. He does a lot of really fun stuff. Violent and horrific. He's killing people. But the way he goes about it is just absolutely fun.
It's that thing of like you could criticize. The third one is you can make a very broad criticism of horror sequels in the 80s and 90s and where they turned the villain into the main character, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep.
Yes, all valid criticism. But it's fucking sick. And Rosanna Arquette.
Oh, my God. Patricia Arquette is in it. And it's set in...
That's the main Arquette. I don't know why I said Rosanna.
It's set in a psych ward because all of these teenagers keep having these dreams.
Nancy comes back?
Yep, Nancy's there. She's like a counsellor.
Oh, yeah. What a great way to bring back that final girl.
Yeah, so fun. I really enjoyed the third one. I'm excited for the fourth. I know nothing about it. It will be one of the movies I watch in Sydney.
Fourth being, can I check? Fourth is, and then the fifth is New Nightmare.
I believe so, yes.
So fourth is wackadoo.
Yeah, that's the one I've heard is completely wacky. But
I can't wait to hear.
I think Freddy Krueger with the syringes on the end of his fingers in this was just like just a nifty way.
TV Freddy Krueger as well.
TV Freddy Krueger had me absolutely shitting.
Gagged.
Loved it. Gagged off my nuts. Anyway, I loved it. What are we watching this week?
Can I say one other thing? Is I love like that they in this one there's this like superpower where they can like join dreams or something.
Yeah, they all just kind of come together and realize that they can jump into each other's dreams. It's like, well,
great
Tom,
world building.
What's something cool you watched this week? You've watched a lot of podcasts back for editing purposes.
I can't think of anything I've watched, to be honest.
Some football.
And we've run out of time.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Some
What do we
football.
watch
Did you
this
watch
week,
a
Zach?
particularly thrilling football game?
Yeah, my team's only lost once. I went to...
Save it for your other podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why you'd be discussing that here. This week, for Leguizamo, which is our Thursday episodes, we watched, and I apologise for the awful pronunciation of this, Paraiso Travel. Paraiso Travel.
Paris travel. If you want to watch along, you can find it on YouTube. If you want to hear about my experiences watching it through a puffed up eyes,
Oh, yeah, did you watch it today?
the double time in puffed up eyes. No, I watched a chunk of it today, of it last night, but it was rough.
That'll be fun.
Tune in on Thursday.
Yeah, for Leguizamo. Otherwise, we'll see you next week, every Tuesday, actually, for the Mish and Zach podcast. Thanks for listening.
Oh, and we've got a new set.
They've seen it. It's been out for a few weeks now, man. People are aware. But subscribe to our YouTube, but see, there you go. Got it
Very
in.
good, Mishy.
No worries. Subscribe to that YouTube. Watch our videos. Like our shit.
You should
Click
announce the 24-hour stream now as well.
We don't know if we're doing that. I've yet to commit. We need to have a meeting. Anyway, have a good one, guys. We'll see you soon. Bye.
The Mish and Zach podcast is recorded on the lands of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. We believe that our collective culture will never reach its full potential until we embrace the history and the truth of the oldest cultures of this land.